Hi, I'm Claude.
And I'm Jess.
We are corporate employees by day, entrepreneurs by night, and work besties for life.
Join us as we explore how work besties lift each other up, laugh through the chaos, and thrive together in every industry.
Work Besties!
Welcome to season 2 of Work Besties Who podcast.
Hi, everyone.
So we thought we would kick off season 2 with a little bit of detail on how we're kind of flipping the script this time around.
Yes.
For 2025. We plan on focusing on wellness. We'll still have lots of fun conversations with work besties and all of those amazing partnerships we've seen throughout the past year. In addition to that, we also plan to cover all sorts of elements around wellness.
It's quite exciting,
It
actually.
is.
It's interesting. There are some episodes that, of course, we already recorded. That is fun, exciting, different. Really looking forward to all of you to experience it as well.
We should probably kick off by us talking about what do we think wellness means to us. This feels very similar to when I introduced like, hey, this season 2, let's focus on wellness. And you're like,
Okay.
what?
I guess for me, it's go with the flow. No. Wellness is something where it's that balance inside you, between the physical, the emotional, and the psychological one. And actually, our podcast is going to help me because I'm not the best in wellness. So I'm going to learn a lot. What about you?
So of the two of us, as we go back to our yin and yang, I'm probably the one that reads the most of self-help books.
Oh yeah,
and
I don't do
things.
self-help.
And I already have kind of a meditation process.
Yeah, my head is going too much.
So to me,
Continue.
wellness, I feel like for me, wellness is how do you incorporate well-being throughout your whole life. And the one area that's probably most missed is how you can leverage it within your work environment and incorporating that into your work bestie friendship or just with coworkers in general.
Exactly.
I think there's definitely benefit there.
No, there's because a lot of time we spend more time at work
than we do.
So at least we need to be able to decompress to know how to handle
exactly
the stress and how to decompress.
The way we would describe this then is wellness is a little bit more of a broad term. We plan on covering multiple different topics, but obviously they're all going to be focused on some type of context around work besties, some type of element within our own careers. And in some, it's a little bit about personal growth or a combination of all the three. So planned out 6 different topics that we wanted to cover across wellness. And we know there's many more. And even within the 6 topics, you'll see they're pretty varied and different elements are incorporated within them. But as of now, we have about 6 different topics we plan to cover.
At some point or another. Right?
Yes. And we'll be really clear in our recaps when we post all the podcasts so you kind of have an idea of which area it's coming from. But I thought we would take a couple minutes just to walk through those 6 areas and talk about some of the ideas of things that we plan to cover and or incorporate into our support from our socials, whether at Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. All right. So the first area that we plan to focus on is the mental wellness. This is probably the one that
big one
people think of the most, right? You're managing your stress. You're really thinking about how do you avoid that burnout at work? How do you really deal with, this is my favorite topic to bring up to you, imposter syndrome.
I have a huge one.
Yes.
Maybe there's a self-help book about imposter syndrome.
There's many actually, but we also will have some guests that will help with that. And then things such as like the role of therapy and how that can be incorporated into your practice, more of a personal element, but you can leverage your work bestie as a therapist too. And then our favorite, because we have a lot of friends that we've made in the content creator world that do this already really well. And that's the bringing humor and positivity back
for me,
into
that's
the environment.
One. Yeah. Without humor,
it makes things so much more palatable, right?
Exactly.
And it gives you that 1-2 seconds of pause to just feel better. So so mental wellness is going to be one.
Then the other one, it's so funny that I'm actually the one saying about this one, is physical wellness. So of course, keeping our energy level, movement, but also is knowing when to rest, right? And about how to sleep correctly, and in the
or
future,
even setting intentions of
exactly,
I will get 8 hours of sleep, or I will have restful
and of
sleep,
course
and
nutrition.
pay attention to your phone right before going to bed, all those fun things. Stop sending me memes.
Stop posting on TikTok without me knowing.
I don't do it that late at night. It was only the one time.
Yeah, so that is also a very important one, the physical wellness.
Third topic will be emotional wellness, which is going to kind of a little bit overlap with mental, but this is more around those elements of triggers. So things that can really set you off in a positive, but also a negative way. And then there's also the things of being vulnerable. Like there's a lot of very empowering TED Talks and speakers out there that talk about bringing your full self to work and the authenticity and really being that game changer in a work environment or even in your personal life really comes very closely to vulnerability. So you can't be a game changer without being vulnerable.
Yeah. Someone that actually did the emotional wellness very well in season 1 was Naima, about the trigger. She had a whole conversation about the triggers.
Yeah. And we have some other people that will be coming up too. But yes, some of these topics, to your point, we have covered a little bit, but now we're being a little bit more intentional, and very intentional about what we are covering. So when we discuss it with you all, you have an idea and understanding. And then in addition to the vulnerability, it's practicing gratitude. So that is one that I feel we are really good about doing to others, but not necessarily to ourselves. And I really want to bring that as a main topic. And then one that we dealt with, I think, really well is conflict resolution with your work bestie, because it happens. And how do you do it in a positive way without setting off emotional triggers?
That's actually a relationship, right?
Agreed.
The next one is quite interesting, actually. I like this kind of things. It's the holistic wellness. So it's deep diving a little bit more about what it is, what are the mind and body connection. It's really interesting, actually. Mindfulness habits. One thing also that is kind of social wellness that you're going to talk about is like really social detox. That is something that
the digital detox.
I should do more often.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a digital detox completely. It could be certain times of days, or
of course,
days of the
certain
week.
Days. And then, of course, you have the whole acupuncture, astrology, really mind over body. So that is something that is going to be quite interesting. That will then trigger everything else, right? Like your physical wellness, your mental wellness. So that is something that is quite interesting.
Yeah. We've had some really cool guests that have, I would say, bent our minds in different directions as well. So we're excited for some of those episodes to come up. The holistic ones have been really, I think, the ones that I've found the most entertaining, just because it's pushed me in different ways.
Yeah.
All right. And then social wellness. So when we think about the social element in general, thinking of your workplace friendships, what does that mean? And how can we be more of a better support system to each other? But I think we say this a lot, where it's like, it's okay to vent, but you also need to be respectful and think about how you want to show up, right? And that level of support can be slightly different, but you should be there to push each other. And we do this to each other a lot, call each other out. So it's okay to say,
oh my God,
you didn't show up well that day, and here's what you should do. Right?
I mean, that's what friends are for, right? Your real friends is really the one that will tell you, look, you screwed up.
Right.
Like,
move
I don't
on.
agree. Let's move on. Let's reset, whatever.
Right.
And that is what, because if you want a yay person, yay friend, it's boring.
Yeah.
You need someone that is going to tell you, look, you messed up.
You need someone that's going to challenge. And then also within the social element of it, it's that, and this comes back to why I think certain people are so good about challenging you. It's that feeling of belonging. So once you do belong, you feel more connected. But we also feel that, and we brought this up in our very last episode of 2024, when you notice other people are not looking like they are connected and they're missing out, how can you bring them in? And we have some ideas and some topics that individuals will be chatting with us on to help with those as well.
Mhm.
And then obviously within social too is the role of mentors, or as we've loved to coin now, your friendtors, and how you can be a better mentor friendtor, as well as how you can find those different roles in other individuals.
And you can have different mentors too.
On
Different topics.
Yes, different mentors, different. I always call it your board of personal trustees.
Oh yeah,
should
that's
have
pretty
multiple
cool.
on.
Actually, your board of director
And then our last topic
is work-life balance, which
Ooh,
I think we need.
That's
a lot.
definitely
We need help.
a meaty one.
We need help on this one. We'll have people that will help us how to really achieve
Setting
this
your boundaries.
this work-life balance, because it's a big one, which again is a trigger to all the others, right? It's going to go on your physical, on your mental, on your emotional.
Right.
So it's so important, and something that I think a lot of us need to work with or to work on.
Agreed. Okay.
So pretty exciting.
We're very excited. And we thought, as kind of a little bit of a teaser,
Oh boy,
we thought we would each share some wellness things that we do that we feel are successes. And
our
then,
success for the last month.
Yeah, that we've already.
Which was during the holiday, so
keep
it's
in
not
mind,
going to be about nutrition.
Definitely wasn't dieting, eating right,
as you can see.
So we thought we would share something of successes, and then maybe one thing that we are kind of struggling with that we want to work on. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, we start with the win or the struggle? The win. Let's be positive.
Let's do win.
All right. So, as a good French person, I mean, you all
you're
figured
French?
I was French. It's been a month since I had a cigarette. Yeah. So
that's
I haven't.
A long time.
Yeah.
Especially for how much you had been smoking and how long you've been smoking.
So
I think that's a huge
for 1 month. So I'm not saying I quit smoking because it's a lot of pressure. I am on the journey of seeing how far can I go. That's more like this mindset that I need to get. But I'm miserable.
Happy wellness.
Thank you. Happy wellness. What about you?
All right. Well, mine might be a little bit of a cheater because I've been doing it on and off for the last year. And I just once we said we were going to do something, I really committed to it. So my morning routine, as you know, I try and get up anywhere from a half an hour to an hour ahead of my normal time, just so I have the house to myself. And I try and do something about 15 minutes of some type of meditation or reading a self-help book. And I do this about 5 times a week. I usually do it the Monday through Friday. Wow. And then usually after that, do some type of exercise, whether it's a video or go for a run. Yeah. So that's one that's been a success. I was really, really good about it last year. I kind of fell off the wagon before around November timeframe, but I really committed to it again back in December. So my hope is to commit to that. Good. Yeah. And it does. I noticed the difference, even if I don't do the exercise, the lack of that 15 minutes for meditation and reading, I notice a difference.
That's why I have to learn about meditating, because it's hard for me. It's like so many. Mind. There's too many things inside my mind. Exactly. I'll be the prime candidate.
If it works for Claude,
it works for you.
All right. So what do you want to share as your struggle that we are going to try and work on in this year of wellness?
I'm going to try to work out in the morning. I see a difference when it happens, which you're going to laugh. I started with my sister-in-law. I lasted 1 week.
I thought you were 2 weeks.
No, I was 1 week. Okay. Because then I had to go to, again, work-life balance. I had to go to leave work at 7 a.m. to be at the office much earlier because I had so much work. So I'm sorry, a lot of people wake up at 4:30, 5 a.m. to work out. I can't. So anyway, so I did, but I saw the difference. I just need, and it was so good.
A little bit of time.
Yeah. So I have to stick to it, and Natasha was awesome and helping me, and I feel like I let her down. But so I'm going to do that. Well, I'm going to go on the journey to do that. And because in my mind I did enough gymnastic.
Yeah. I feel like you
like
definitely
8 to 22 that I think I worked out for the rest of my life. But I think at this point I need to go back in working out.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
about you?
I'll share. I have a exercise one that I'll share later on when we talk about our vision boards. But everyone knows that everyone knows that I do half marathons, so that'll be it coming soon. But the one that I was thinking about that I definitely struggle with, and I noticed it's gotten worse over the years, is my procrastination. So if I have something that is due, but I have a really long lead time, I am very bad about prepping ahead. So that my intention this year is to be very, very intentional to really avoid the last minute swirl of procrastination.
Yeah. I don't know why. It must be also, again, we talked about in another podcast, the trigger, but like, how do you reset that? Because I'm actually the same thing. And now my son is the same thing. And the problem is that you procrastinate, but you don't learn your lesson because at the end, it works out. You're being stressed. You're very stressed during
and then
doing
other things fall off. So you just talked about you wouldn't exercise during that time period, right? You wouldn't have your time period to do those other things that you.
No, just because I did have work. I wasn't procrastinating on that one.
No, but I'm just saying in general, when you do procrastinate, those are the things that fall off. I'm not saying in that I'm saying example of when you procrastinate, everything else gets pushed to the side. So you have to do it because it's all you can get to. So like if you had done these other things earlier, you might also have another chance to triple check whatever
and you do a better job, a better work.
So, I mean,
you're going to work on that?
Yeah. I think there are added benefits that eventually you just have to train yourself to. It's like anything. You have to train yourself to stop smoking. You have to train yourself to commit to that time.
Yeah. Which is going to help, let me go back to your mental wellness.
It will be my physical.
Managing stress.
And it'll be my physical as well, for sure.
Yeah, full circle.
So I guess what you can tell from this that wellness in general is definitely not a one size fits all. It's
a lot.
Going to be unique to you and your thought process. And that's kind of the cool thing about doing this with a work bestie is that you can bounce those ideas off of each other. So we actually do have a call out to our work bestie community. We noticed that we've been very keen on getting great guests that are focused on wellness, but we thought we would pitch out to our audience and say, if you guys have ideas or topics or even individuals you would love to hear from, DM us, let us know, tell us on Instagram or TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want, or even our direct emails. Feel free to reach out and give us ideas. As we mentioned, we've got a lot of great guests, but we are always willing to add those knowing how passionate some of our followers are. So we'd love to hear from you guys, or even if you have a specific topic you would love covered. Whether it was one we mentioned or one that you guys can think of that we didn't mention, let us know. We would love to hear from you all and incorporate that. Yeah. So what?
So weird. Why did I do that?
I don't know. You're like a seal all of a sudden. Okay, so we gave some ideas of things that we have started working on already. In addition to that, we thought we would give you guys a couple of quick tangible tips for wellness. And you'll start to see these incorporated into our platform throughout the year. But we thought we would just share a couple now, some of which I think are things that we were passionate about, or at least the one that I came up with was one that I plan on doing. But we also have a couple other things that we'd love to chat to. Some of the things like blocking 15 minutes of your calendar a day that's no meetings, just to give yourself that time to regroup. Or as I mentioned, wake up early and meditate or read a book. Again, it doesn't have to be long, 10, 15 minutes. Those types of things are really helpful. But the one that I'm excited to do, and I haven't even shared this with Claude yet, so I'm curious to see her thoughts, is what they call the gratitude swap. So once a week, whether it's the beginning of the week or the end of the week, reflecting on the past 7 days and just reaching out to my work bestie and providing some element of gratitude to show my appreciation.
I feel like we do that. It's not official, but I think we are pretty good in saying, oh, that was awesome.
I don't know that we do it weekly, though. We do it after like a meeting, right?
A meeting.
Like, have you ever done it after, like, we've never done it after we've recorded or met or whatever, and we're like, wow, we were great. It's usually after a meeting or an email or something of that. I don't know. But I want to be more intentional.
That's awesome.
Yeah, be more intentional. So you're right.
Be
like,
positive.
We've always been nice to each other, and I want people to think we are nice to each other. We have some sort of gratitude. Now
we have a lot of gratitude. At least I
was. Sound like a horrible person. I meant this in a nice, positive way, that we would make this more intentional. I feel like I've been saying intentional a lot today. That might be my word of the week. What about you? Anything?
For me, I think it's going to be the 5-minute reset.
Okay.
So take 5 minutes at some point when you're working, right? And just get away from your computer. Think about, I used to do my 5-minute reset having my cigarettes.
So what are you going to
But
do
now
now?
I'm going to do some breathing because I can breathe better now.
I was like, you to skip around.
Who knew? But you don't, I could do that too. No, just like reflecting. Sometimes it's true that when you get away from your computer, and not to go to your phone and on Instagram or whatever, just to go away, and that's when you resolve a lot of things. Or even going some fresh air.
This reminds me of one of our season 1 with the walking and talking.
Yes.
Right?
Shall we do that
Christine
too?
and Renee, that's what they do every day is they said even if they only had like 10-15 minutes just to get out, or they would walk around their school building. So that's a good one.
We don't have lunch, but maybe we should do that too.
Yeah.
Shall we walk?
We could walk. We could try
Let's do that too. So it's the 5-minute reset and then the walk.
And then the walking.
Because my boots are made of work.
Their boots are made of That's just what they'll do. Please don't walk all over. Oh boy. So I think we've given a couple of ideas.
What about you? Let us know what do you think about doing. And I don't like to say about New Year resolution. No. Because it's just something like meant to be to do something different, and that is good for the soul.
Right. So we would love to connect. And as we said, we'll start sharing some more ideas too.
Yeah.
But we'd love for you all to share what you guys are thinking, or even what you're doing.
Give us ideas.
Yeah,
too.
Feel free to tag us in it at Work Besties Who Podcast, and maybe even use the hashtag Wellness with Besties. I came up with that.
She did. I said,
you were like, it's okay.
That's not true. I with all the one look, I put it in yellow. I literally said that's the one I like.
Hashtag Wellness with Besties.
Hashtag Wellness with Besties.
You want to do with Besties or Work Besties? You don't care. We'll do with Besties. We like that one. All right.
It's more inclusive.
It is, because it doesn't have to be just your work bestie. It could be your regular bestie, or it could be both.
And we are work bestie and besties.
All right. Well, wellness isn't exactly about perfection, as you can see. We're not exactly perfect. What was that? Just snorted. All right, but it is about showing up for your work bestie, even if they do snort. So. And how you can support them every day, even if it's in small ways. So I think that's the thing we want.
Small ways is good.
Yeah, I think that's what we really want to get accomplished this year. Is what are those small things that you can do to really continue to balance yourself
and be kind. Be kind. That's my thing.
With that, welcome to season 2. We are super excited. Stay tuned, because next week we have a deep dive with a spiritual wellness guest who took us on an incredible journey, and we think you are going to absolutely love it. You're not going to want to miss it. So thank you all. Don't forget to subscribe to At Work Besties Who Podcast
on all the platforms.
Bye. Remember, whether you're swapping snacks in the break room, rescuing each other from endless meetings, or just sending that perfectly timed meme, having a work bestie is like having your own personal hype squad.
So keep lifting each other up, laughing through the chaos, and of course, thriving. Until next time, stay positive, stay productive, and don't forget to keep supporting each other.